Well, we kind of, I don't know, I've been trying to wait to figure out all the orc stuff going on, and we're getting drip feed because that's what they want to do. And so I thought I waited long enough. I thought I'd just condense some of the new things and just give a few thoughts about what's going on. So today they just showed the Wartrakk, and this model is probably my favorite model from the orc side. I don't, I'm not sure what it does. Like, what does it do? Sustained, not sustained, excuse me. Suppressed is actually not bad, and it might be better now. Like fight on death and uh, interrupts. If you just do the ignore minus, if you do -1 to hit, it's not gonna be quite so bad. Maybe it doesn't hit very often, even with all those shots. So the problem you might run into is, what do you do if you miss? Now, the use for that, if you really wanted the sustained, is you put it with a squad of bikes, you put it with a Dakka Rig and Wartrakk, and then you have a torrent gun, and then you're guaranteed to get the sustained. I don't think it's worth it for that, but it might be worth it otherwise. It kind of might just feel like every once in a while you see Space Marine lists with ATVs. Not very often, but it's sort of just like a cheap unit that you don't mind doing area denial kind of things. Would it be good then? I don't know. I don't know. The problem is, it's got this huge stat line. Like, it's pretty tough. It's got a lot of wounds, but it's competing with, well, okay, current rules. 3 bikers. 3 war bikers are 65 points, and they have more OC and have more wounds than this thing. So it's going to be a bit tough to compete, and I don't think they're going to make it like 40 points. If it's 40 points, it's everywhere. You're going to run it over. They're going to be all over the place doing actions. If it's like 50 points, maybe. I don't know. I think it's really cool. I really like that, for whatever reason, it has 1 Choppa. Or it says, sorry, it has Choppa as attacker. They both have Choppas. I thought I was going to make a joke. Take it. Never mind. But the rocket launcher lost blast. I didn't notice that all of our rockets lost blast, which we're shooting more shots, so it's probably fine. I don't know. This is a weird model. If it's cheap, like if it's super cheap, you're just taking it all over the place because it's going to do actions and stuff. If it's not cheap, I don't think you see it. I will say the other issue that is in its favor is, if you're running Speed Freaks or Cult of Speed or Speed Wall, whatever detachment, you kind of run out of units pretty fast. And so what I mean by that is you take your 18 Def Coptas. That's the best part of that list. You take Dakka, best part of that list. And then after that, you're like, they just go down. You know what I mean? They're not as good as they were, or as the options you just had. So after that, it's like, well, the buggies, I love buggies. I really love buggies. I've got like 12 of them. However, they're just not what they used to be. They just don't do much. So you have like this army with a damage problem, which is kind of a problem to have because killing models is like the best utility you can have. But yeah, I don't know. Wartrakk might be just the best thing we've shown for orcs just because he's cheap. You know, if he's just cheap enough, it's great. The other thing we showed was it this one? Was it this one? Dakka Rig. This one is interesting. The fact that it gets more shots versus infantry is kind of cool. I really have a problem, and that is it hitting on 6s all the time? If it's hitting on 6s all the time, it's awful. There's not enough shots to hit on 6s all the time. Even if like it had enough shots, you're still going to have consistency problems because not rolling all 6s on 20 dice is not really that unlikely. Otherwise, it's got a great stat line. I really like the toughness. The fact that it has a 5-up invul is like, I really enjoyed reading some salt on Knight players who are, why does it have a 5-up invul? Because orcs are the 5-up invul faction. We just have them all over the place. I don't know why. It's been like a tradition. Custom force fields have been here forever. I don't know why you don't have 5-up invuls. Maybe you should consider playing a better faction. But yeah, I don't know. The fact that, all right, it has heavy, and you can, it's a walker, so you can give it like dread mob buffs. Maybe. The reroll hits one is probably the best buff you can give it. The +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and what does the bigger shells for bigger gets do? It's +1 damage and it's +1 strength. I never play dread mob. I find it's not very consistent, but that one's okay, but then you're not getting the extra shots, but then you can just shoot the rockets at something. I don't know. It's also not that bad if you push the button because it's only 2 guns, so you're only rolling twice, so you can't possibly blow yourself up with the first round of shooting. Well, maybe, it could be a couple turns, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. This one's cool. The model's my favorite. I really like the model itself. I like the snub gun looking thing they got on there. That's really good. But I need convincing. But yeah, so I was trying to look at like what is the rest of the stuff we've got, and we've been shown. Let's go all the way to the top here. War Boss. I don't think they've shown the exact rules. I know they showed us that his custom choppa has cleave, which I don't know if a custom choppa is replacing a big choppa or is its own choppa. I kind of hope it's replacing a big choppa because big choppas right now need a lot of love, but custom choppas are like giving cleave something. It might be a reason enough to take them over a power claw. I don't know. We also haven't seen it with a power claw, so maybe power claws just aren't options very often. So we haven't seen his rules, I don't think. So he's probably just +1 to hit, if I had to guess. Big Boss, he Snake. No, but he gives sustained 1, which is really good. But Warhorde does that in your entire faction, and Warhorde is probably the best way to play orcs currently. I mean, okay, I can hear arguments, but so I don't. He's not really shaking up the list there. Banner mobs giving 5-up invuls. Is that worth it? Like what? It's not bad. I think he's better if you like want an enhancement caddy. You know, you just take him because he's cheap and he gives you an enhancement and a 5-up invul is pretty nice. I don't think the pain boy's changing. I think the Grot still brings guys back and he still gives a 5-up feel no pain. Model's good. He might be losing the power claw, which is kind of a bummer. Not a huge deal, but a bit of a bummer. They said specifically the Weird Boy still has to jump, so I'm assuming it's reacting the same way. It might be a little bit different. If they could buff it where if you fail it with one Weird Boy, you could try it again with another Weird Boy. That would be really nice. Will they do that? I have no idea. Probably not. Boys, I imagine wouldn't change. Gretchen, the only change I think we know of is that they don't have runt hurts anymore, which I don't know. I mean, it lowers their leadership, I guess. That's not the worst thing. Wartrakks we just got shown, and the Dakka Rig we just got shown. So we're kind of winding down on orc reveals. And so I was kind of wondering, like, what are we doing? So if we go here to, if we assume, they said that most codex detachments would be two detachment points, and then all the ones they showed have 1. So it's kind of just, for at least me, I know you could find other things, but at least me, I want Cult of Speed, and I want Warhorde. Not because I just need to keep playing Warhorde. It's just the one that seems to work the best. It has the most universal rules. It works with everything. I could see giving Thundering Wagons like in Warhorde, giving all your Killer Rigs, Battle Wagons, all that stuff. Notably, the Killer Rig's good versus Necrons, I found, because they have a 3-up save and a 4-up invul, and it has AP 1 damage 3. The problem is it's not very good versus like Victor's Guard because of Armor Contempt, and it's not very good versus Defilers because Defilers just shoot them before you get there. But getting an auto advance 6 is actually kind of a big deal. I think +1 to charge is the most boring rule. That's like, okay, I don't know. It depends on how cheap it is. I don't think it's that great. +1 to charge is okay, but it's only when you get out. So like, how many times are you having a unit get into a battle wagon and get out of the battle wagon? So like maybe twice. Rapid fire. This one's so weird. I don't know. Because you're just doing, it's not firing deck weapons, which is the reason why you put buffs on battle wagons, is because they have firing at deck 11. I don't think it's good. Tac Brigade. This one's going to be weird because the reason you take Tac Brigade is if you need to do actions. If actions are everywhere and you need to do a lot of them, I think you just slot in Tac Brigade as your one-off detachment and you call it good. If there's none of those, is it good? Maybe, I don't know. Depends on what else it has, but probably not. More Dakka. I really don't see this going places. Now, I could see combining it with some other shooting detachments and try to like make that work. I just don't think orc shooting is real. And so what I mean by that is with -1 to hit for cover everywhere and all the negatives and all the 15-inch lone ops and everything, I'm not saying shooting is dead. I think orc shooting is dead. So if you're hitting on 6s, what are you doing? Why are you? I rarely even roll trying to hit for 6s. Like I cannot stand trying to hit 6s. So like, well, we have heavy. You have this. You can hit things with the mech. It's like, yeah, but now we're talking like how much resources do I need to put into something to do a little bit of damage, you know? Or I could just put a little bit of resources and charge things and kill them the good old-fashioned way. But yeah, so that's kind of the orc roundup. I'm kind of wondering. I'm thinking if I put on my orchestra dumbass hat for a second, I'm kind of feeling that we're gonna get a Speed Freak like release, and I guess the question would be like, are we getting more or are we done? Because we're getting the new Warbikers that they showed in the terrain video. We got Dakka, who is the named speed freak, right? So are they going to do more? Or like, are they going to do like the Beast Snagger release? We're getting a whole bunch of Beast Snaggers, and then they just sort of cut it off and be like, all right, we did this, and then that's it. Or are they going to do a more balanced orc release for their codex? Now we are not the. There's no way we're the launch codex, so they're going to be Space Marines first. But we're almost definitely second. I'm trying to think of like what could they include that orcs don't have, and the biggest one I can think of is they could do a plastic replacement for the Chinork, which is of course the Forge World helicopter that was, when it was good, it was a truck but better because it was faster, and then it just sort of disappeared because people didn't want to buy them because they knew the legends were on the way out, and it did get legends, so it was on the way out. But orcs don't really have a speeder. They don't have like a flying medium-sized vehicle or a flying large vehicle. But how many flying large vehicles are there? I guess you could count our planes, but mostly it's Storm Raven, and I don't think we're getting something that big. I think they've learned their lesson on that one. But yeah, I think we're gonna get like a Speed Freak release. So we got bikers. I would love it if they brought back knob bikers. Now, if you do not mind a little history lesson, back in 5th edition, okay, I was running knob bikers, and they had a stupid rule that I used because this is the way you had to play sometimes, but it was a stupid rule where they had 2 wounds apiece, and that was rare back in 5th. But more importantly, you could give them a 5-up feel no pain, or was it a 4-up feel no pain? I don't remember the feel no pain. I remember the feel no pain being there because you give them a pain boss on a warbike. But the important part of this rule was if you had unique equipment on every single model, you could assign the wounds one at a time. So if you took 1 damage, you put it on one guy. You took 2 damage, you put it on another guy. So it took them 10 wounds before they could take 1 model off the table, and you run a bunch of those. Now, the rules don't work that way anymore, so you could just run knob bikers. Would they be good? I don't know, probably. The thing about knobs is, historically, they haven't been good because you had to pay for power claws. And if you don't have to pay for power claws, like, it used to be like power claws were like 10 points a model or something, ridiculously expensive, very fast. Knob bikers would be great because the problem with Speed Freaks, and you can run them in Warhorde, obviously, but the thing about Speed Freaks is they have a consistent problem of damage. They do not have units that do consistent damage in the number that's needed to deal with things that you need to kill. Like, okay, can you kill 5 Space Marines? Sure, but everyone can kill 5 Space Marines. Can you kill 6 Victor's Guard? Maybe. I don't know. Probably. I wouldn't count on it. Depends on how much resources you're putting in. But knob bikers would go a long way. I would love an orc speeder, like a Def Copta but bigger. Or I'm trying to imagine something that's like a land speeder but orcish. You know, just make it fly. I could see doing it. Doesn't have to fly necessarily, but I think we have enough land ones. So, yeah. The other big thing is I would like a war boss on bike. I want a war boss on bike. The Dakka Rig and Wartrakk is cool, and I like the model, but I want him to be a buggy again. Make him a vehicle. Bring in a war boss on bike, especially because the problem is right now with the 2. If I understand correctly, you have the 2-inch engagement range, and so currently, if you have the Dakka Rig and Wartrakk, his base is gigantic, and if you touch his back of his base, you get a fight through him. Next edition, 2-inch rules means you don't get a fight through him because he has like a 6-inch base. So he's gonna plug so much area, and if you're wanted to use that guy in the current rules, in if they don't change his rules. The best use for him is still probably just give him the 4-up feel no pain, and you put him in Warhorde, and you just run him up and block things and do actions and stuff. Problem with that one is I think Dakka kind of took that niche away from him, because Dakka just does it but better, because Dakka kills things in his lone op, which is better than a 4-up feel no pain, generally. I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I think the thing about this next edition, we haven't seen any of that thing that I'm like, oh, this is like changing how I'm going to play, and this is so exciting. I'm going to do this. I'm not really seeing that yet. What I do hope happens is I hope the new war bosses are different data sheets, because the problem we're running into right now is you're like, okay, I want to run boys. I want to run. So what are our damage dealers, right? What are the things that do consistent damage to all targets? Number one answer is knobs. Then you can say breaka boys. Then you can say war bosses, Gazcol, right? But the problem with all these things is we have 3 war bosses, and you can only put 3 of those war bosses with units of knobs or breaka boys. So around a 2,000 point list, you do knobs, and then you can decide if you do breaka boys or Gaz, and you split them up. But those war boss slots run out real fast. So I think it'd be cool to open up some list space if we could do like 6 war bosses, because immediately you could start running 10, 10, 10 boys. You could start running knob, breaka. Okay, maybe it's just a couple ways to do things, but you could spatter it in. You know what I mean? And I do think with the new Battle Shock rules that sticky objectives will probably be a little bit better. Though I don't know like what's really going to cause Battle Shock out of your phase that you have to retest back into. There's Shadows of the Warp, and then there's like Chaos Knights. Dante has his little death mask bubble. It's not a lot. There's not a lot going on. So I don't know. I know some people who are people in the local meta who are thinking this is going to be the end of the edition. You're never going to score any points because Battle Shock's going to be everywhere. But I just don't see it. Not with the information we have anyway. I don't know. A little bit rambly today. I don't know. We're just kind of waiting. I really do hope we get like a Speed Freak detachment that is not just fast, but also like some data sheets that are good and hit hard. Because, like I said, I really love running 18 Warbikers, and I love running 18 Defcoptas. But you kind of have a problem where if you roll a couple of less 5s than you should, sometimes you just don't have enough damage to deal with things. And it also has the problem of it really wants to go first if you're going to jail people, but like not all armies can be jailed. Like you cannot jail a Blood Angels army. Well, you can kind of, but like it's not going to happen because they can just fly over you. Yeah. Anyway, folks, let me know what you think. And something big happens, I'll re-upload soon. I'm trying to like wait until I know enough to actually say things that matter. You know? I don't know. Whatever. I'm just rambling. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.